Happy Monday and welcome to your Mental Health Mini. This week's guest is Dr. Justin Puder and we are talking all about therapy. What is your advice to teens that are entering or beginning therapy? What is your advice to both parents and teens in that situation?
It's such a great question. This is important. I would want you to be able to pause and ask yourself, what do I want? What gets confounded for a lot of the teens is what your mom wants for you, what your dad's telling you need to change, what your teachers are telling you at school needs to be different. It's different when you can kind of pull back from that and say, but what is it that I'm sitting with that I would want to be different? And sometimes it's different things come out. Some people will be like, I would like to be in a relationship. That's not what my mom's sending me here for. That's not why I originally walked through this door, but I would
Yeah.
like to feel good enough, confident enough that I could date somebody and be in a
Mhm.
relationship. That's different because when you go inward and you're like, how could this therapy really help me? When you make progress along those lines, you really see how therapy can be transformative
Yeah.
versus when we're changing something for someone else, which is the unfortunate burden that gets put on a lot of the teens. In having the conversation of what would be different, what would change, I start to get a feel right away for how specific of goals people have. Is
Mm.
it general, like I want to build self confidence? And even in that, you can set specific goals along the way of, well, what would it mean? How are you defining self confidence for yourself? Of like, well, I'd start talking to people in my classes. That's okay. Yeah. So what
Mhm.
class are we talking about? You know what I mean? Scaling that goal even back of, is there a specific person? Like, is there a way we start to build up to you asking someone on a date? Because usually there's a lot of steps of people
Yeah.
feeling comfortable in their skin between then. But you start to get a feel early on of people being like, yeah, I'm not sleeping. And that's really bothering me. And then it's what are the reasonable steps and things we can get curious about now and the things we can start testing, which is
Mhm.
something I think a lot of people in therapy don't quite understand if they're new to therapy is you are experimenting as much as like I have this education and I can know the science and this and that, I can't know exactly what's going to work for Sadie. I
Yeah.
can't. We can get curious, we can test things out, we can be like, how about we stop scrolling an hour before bed? And you might come back after a week and be like, it didn't really make a difference. And then we're going to look at some other things. We're like, what about, let's look at caffeine intake. And you're like, oh yeah, I tend to like having my
Drink a
Dunkin'
cold
Donuts.
brew before bed.
I have my cold brew at 5. What's the big
It's
deal?
perfect.
All right. But it's the curiosity in therapy and the experimentation in your life that leads to change because it's not the same for everyone. And I
Yeah.
think that's what makes therapy so interesting and so unique. But understanding that when you go into therapy, that there'll be things you have to test out and you might not know how it's gonna like what the outcome's gonna be. And some might work better or worse for you. That is real therapy, is the
Yeah.
experimentation. And so with the parents, this might feel weird for parents. Let your teen pick the therapist.
Yeah.
Trust me on this. Let them pick. I know
Mhm.
you could even show them psychologytoday.com to scroll some profiles. If it feels overwhelming for them, you could even like it feels like a lineup in a way, but you could show them, send them
Mhm.
10 profiles or 5 if they
Yeah.
don't even want to do that work. There is the therapeutic relationship is so important with change. It's the number one predictor of outcomes. So if the parents pick the therapist, as soon as the teen walks in the room, they take one look at them and they're like, I don't feel comfortable with this person. We know those factors exist. And as much as you'd say, well, you get to know them, try it, it's different when you empower your teen to be like, I'm going to let you pick. Again, I can show
Mhm.
you the resources or whatever, but let you choose. It is a relationship, meaning with most relationships, it takes time. I have to get
Yeah.
to know you. I got to know your narrative. I got to know the things you like and dislike and get to know your personality. Therapy is the same because every person is different. And so the way you implement change and the way you emotionally and cognitively arrive in that session, you got to have that therapeutic relationship for it to be effective. So
Yeah.
I'd want teens to know that the relationship building, it doesn't happen in that first like 50, 55-minute session. It does
Mhm.
take time.
If you enjoyed this week's Mental Health Mini, you can listen to the full episode. It is episode 167 featuring Dr. Justin Puder. A link to the full episode is in the show notes. As always, make sure to leave a review, subscribe, share with a friend or family member, and follow along at @ShePersistedPodcast. Thanks for listening.